All right. Ross Coulthart says that he's dropping actual images of NHI technology. That's what this video claims. So what is it? What are we looking at when we look at these pictures? I'm going to play this clip. It's a longer clip. It's about a 2 or 3 minute clip. So I'm going to play this from News Nation, and then we'll talk about what we think we're seeing. So check it out.
Are intriguing. And I'm hoping we might be able to show some images here of these documents, because what you see are photographs in the document. It's allegedly a leaked document from the Palo Alto Coulthart laboratory in California. And Coulthart was short for Commercial Applications Research for Extraterrestrial Technology. And the materials include technical reports, diagrams of alleged extraterrestrial artifacts, technology, and pages of an alien symbolic language or script. And in around about 2007, a guy calling himself Isaac created a website on Fortune City, isaaccoulthart.fortunecity.com, and it's actually archived on the Wayback Machine. You'll find it if you just put Coulthart into the Wayback Machine. And he posted a personal account, scanned and redacted documents and high-quality images. And he claimed to be a former employee who worked at PACL in the mid-1980s as part of a team reverse engineering extraterrestrial technology recovered from a crash site. And the goal was to adapt alien tech for commercial human applications, anti-gravity devices, or advanced propulsion for civilian use. And the PACL Q486, Q4 86 report is what was tendered. It's a 1986 primer on findings from these ET artifacts, and it described extraction processes, component analysis, and integration effects. And there's also pages from a linguistic analysis primer featuring complex diagrams and an elaborate symbolic alien language, self-executing or functional. I can't dismiss this case for reasons I cannot disclose. It's an ongoing investigation for me. I've got a hunch about who PACL Coulthart were and people involved. And it's an ongoing investigation. There are reasons to be skeptical about the case, and there's been a whole debunk that's been published. It does beg questions to me. Why would somebody create such an elaborate document? It's a bit like the MJ12 documents. Why would somebody create such an elaborate document if it's all just a silly hoax? And a lot of people have suggested that it was a publicity effort by an animation company, a CGI company, to generate business. But if it was, they never said who they were or generated any benefits for themselves by publicizing their role in doing this. Basically, nothing has been heard from Isaac since he posted these documents in 2007, and the website is now defunct. I have a pretty good idea what PACL Coulthart were and who was behind it, and it's an ongoing investigation.
We spend a lot of time looking at things that we just can't explain, but some of the most unexplained phenomenon happen a lot closer to home, and that's inside your head. A thought can appear out of nowhere. It's something dark, disturbing, completely out of character. You didn't ask for it. You don't want it. And no matter what you try to do to get rid of it, it just keeps coming back. For millions of people, that experience is not just anxiety or a bad day. It can actually be OCD. It's not the organizing stereotype. Real OCD, it's persistent. It's unwanted, intrusive thoughts that feel totally out of character, along with mental or physical behaviors you feel driven to get relief. These thoughts can feel very real, which is what makes them so upsetting. But it doesn't have to be that way, because OCD, it's highly treatable with the right kind of specialized therapy. OCD needs ERP or exposure and responsive prevention, which is proven to be the most effective treatment. And that's where NoCD comes in. NoCD is the world's leading provider of OCD treatment, and it's covered by insurance for over 138 million Americans. All their licensed therapists specialize in ERP therapy and will help you learn to take the power away from intrusive thoughts in live, face-to-face virtual sessions. They also provide support between sessions when you need it the most, so you're never facing OCD alone. If any of this sounds familiar, visit nocd.com to book a free 15-minute call. That is nocd.com. No CD. Make sure you go and check it out.
Okay, so quite a lot there. Well, okay, so quite a lot to say about this in general. The way I always like to approach this thing is the skeptical questions, the what if this is real questions, and all that too. And let's start with the skeptical questions. We'll do that first. Why not? The thing that I've talked about it, and I'm a fan of Ross Coulthart and what he's done in general for the UAP community, and what he has absolutely done in general for information and all those types of things. And there's a lot that he does and questions that he asks that I usually always say I'll applaud him for. There are certain times and certain things that he will do on, as I've mentioned many time and time again, the thing that always got me was all hell is going to break loose, and then it doesn't. He does things like this sometimes where he makes statements, where he does things, and it's like, well, what? And well, I know where the big UFO is, but I can't tell you. It's like, and he's kind of doing that again here. I got a pretty good idea what this is, but it's an ongoing investigation. I can't tell you. Could be a hoax, could be an animation, but I don't know what that does. I don't know what that does. I'm not saying whether it makes it any less real or any less fake. But by doing that, again, it's like you are a voice that a lot of people listen to, and I'm one of them. Waiting to go, well, what's Ross saying? So when he brings up this one of like these documents, and we'll bring up the pictures in a second of what they could be, he's not necessarily saying 100%. This is it. This is what this is. He's bringing it up because it's a case that's been out there. And so clearly, and this is, I guess, more diving into the what if this is real type thing, because he's talked to enough people, and obviously he can't say why, but he's talked to enough people that he believes that it's enough for him to discuss and talk about, that it could indeed be legit. Because the things that he's posted, and remember the Jake Barber thing where he showed that video and people gave him shit about the egg video. They, well, what the hell is that? We still don't necessarily know if that was real or not real, but it wasn't this big, huge thing that everybody thought it was going to be. But down the line, it could wind up being something pretty significant if that footage turns out to be that's exactly what it was. And there's no difference here when it comes to these particular documents, because if these documents are indeed real, all right. So this was the imagery that he showed, which again, you zoom in on it, you take a look at it, and you don't really know. I mean, this could, if I showed this to you in general, didn't give you any context, and said, what do you think this is? It could be tons of things. It doesn't look anything necessarily foreign outside of it could be like a crazy drone or something on the right-hand side, or, any of these things, or whatever this could be something that someone came up with, a creative that came up with something, right? The language, whatever it might be. So there's nothing that you just pops out and goes, oh, that looks alien per se. But he just showcased visuals, and this is from that leaked document, obviously. And now the question again remains, where does that leaked document come from? I think he makes a valid point where he says, what's the point of making such an elaborate document? Now, the argument could be, there are a lot of crazy people out there. There is definitely somebody out there that would spend all of that time doing all of that and not getting anything out of it. We just can't fathom that, because it's like, why would you take the time and the effort to make a big elaborate thing like that, put it out there, and then not even take any credit for it? There's people like that out there. I think there is. Doesn't necessarily mean that that's what this is, because like, as I've said time and time again, I will not say outright, this isn't real. I don't know, because what if it is? Down the line, that's where the frustration comes for me sometimes with the reports like this. Is it's like, I get it. you got to protect sources. It's an ongoing investigation. You don't want to break the investigation. But like, my question is like, where does it come from? Where, like, you have to be confident enough to talk about this, to say that you feel that this isn't, because there's tons of videos out there you could play that, you know, look crazy, but they just don't seem like they're legit. And you could play all those. He's not choosing to do that. He's not choosing. There's tons of different sightings people have seen, or people that have been, who have been talked to, or people who said they've worked places, and he's not talking to those people or showing those types of footage, but he's showing this in particular. And he must be talking to somebody that says that's legit, because he said some other stuff too. And check this video out.
Both myself and UAP GERB are speaking to people inside the legacy program, and whereas probably a few years ago I was talking to one or two, I'm talking to a lot more than that now. And I'm more than confident that there is such a program, and that the government probably doesn't know the full extent of it, because a lot of it's being run out of private aerospace. But there is a deep frustration from within that program that government needs to know and needs to inform itself about what's really going on. And that's why people like myself are being approached. And that's why I feel reasonably safe about saying what I say, because as often happens in journalism, you use multiple corroborative witnesses to independently verify things. And that's pretty much all I can say at the moment before I jeopardize sources.
Okay, now that's the thing that as you're getting to those legacy programs and everything too, I think that that's what this does. And this is, to me, a much better clip out than even the first one, because this kind of combats one of the things that Vance was talking about last week, saying, you know, if this kind of stuff would be leaked out. And everybody, I think it was UAP Gerber who said the same thing after I said it. Or not they got it from me, but it said it in the same day, was that, yeah, this stuff has been leaked out. It has been. It's continued to be leaked out. And it's talking, you got a reporter talking about these things, and he's talking about to a bunch of different other whistleblowers or other people, or people who inside of this program. So it is being leaked out, and they're getting frustrated that more people don't know about it. So that kind of, that was a frustrating video all in itself. I'd say please go and check that out. But this is the type of stuff that I definitely buy into, and I feel that there is something that needs to be exposed more so inside of this recovery, the reverse engineering and all that. And that kind of goes back to the first part of this video, where that stuff, if those images are indeed real, the reverse engineering and the things that they've been working on for 70, 80 plus years, or however long it's been, from crash retrieval stuff, this goes hand in hand with that. So the fact that, and this at the end of that was like, that's all I can say because I don't want to jeopardize my sources. I think that's a completely different thing. And I think he gave you as much information that he can in a thing that is still relevant to the idea of, listen, here's the thing. This is something that I have been talking to so-and-so. They have been saying this. There's frustrations. A lot of the government doesn't even know about this, which kind of lines up from a lot of times when you hear different people in high places of the government who don't know about these things and are asked about it all the time, that there's been this ongoing rumor that this is run kind of outside of government through private companies and other things too, with the kind of money that they're having, that they're able to do these types of things, and that there's a select people who do know and don't know. So all this makes sense to me in general, but I want to know what you guys think of these comments. So please put your thoughts in there. Let me know. Comment away. What do you think about all of it? Do you think those first pictures, do you think they're legit? What do you think they are in general, if anything? And what do you think about Ross, that he's talking to some other people who were involved in this program? I want to know. So hit me up, comment, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.